Hello everyone, this is Dr. Achal Singh and I welcome you all in our course module on the subject of services marketing. Earlier also we have discussed the concept of the services marketing with regard to the field of the marketing research. In today's discussion we will be dealing with the marketing research and how the marketing research is impacting and it is helping the marketers of the service providers to deal effectively with their 7 Ps. So, let us start with. Now, before moving on with the concept of the marketing research, it is very important to know that what is the concept that it all deals about. We know that it is being composed of two of the words, that is marketing and research, and we know that the marketing it is all about related with the identification and exploration of the human needs and how the marketers are trying to satiate those needs that lie hidden in their personality. And research all about it deals with the things that are being explored, that are being uncovered, and research is something that is being related within a process. It is a sequential flow of events, it is a sequential flow of activities that has to be undertaken by any learner, by any researcher for the purpose of proving out their objectives, for the purpose of fulfilling out their objectives. So, in the same consonance, one of the definition that has been given by Philip Kotler and Lane Keller, they have said that marketing research is the systematic design, collection, analysis and the reporting of data and findings that are relevant to the specific marketing situation which a company is facing. Now, if we deduce the definition that is being given by Kotler and Keller, they have said that marketing research is all about, it is being related with all about the design, the collection, the analysis and the findings of the data that you have collected, and those data may be collected keeping into consonance the objectives that you want to accomplish upon. So, definitely our objective is to explore the hidden needs and the wants of the target customers. Apart from that, there may be an objective of expanding out your customer database, there may be an objective of innovation, the creation that we want to have in our marketing strategies and our policies. So, there can be any objective. And for the purpose of fulfilling and pursuing those objectives, whatever strategy and the data that we are collecting, the data are being collected, they are being analyzed, they are being explored, and certain findings and the conclusions are being made thereafter for the purpose of fulfilling out our corporate objectives that we want to define about. Now, further they have said that in order to understand the needs of the behavior, we have a tool called marketing research. It generates information for the decision makers to make a suitable service, to further develop it, to price it properly, promote it effectively and distribute it for the convenience of the buyers. It helps the decision maker to understand, to explain, to describe, to evaluate the marketing program of the buyer and his other needs. Now, it is very imperative here that we are surviving in this competitive scenario. So, it is indispensable for every marketer, whether the marketer is engaged in the offering of some tangible commodities or whether marketer is being engaged in the manufacturing of certain kind of products that are physical in nature or the products that are intangible in nature. It is very important for any business organization to satiate, to identify, to explore and to satiate the needs and the wants and the aspirations of the target audience. Apart from the exploration and the satiation of the needs, it is also an important aspect to look in for the marketers to come out with their offerings, having out in a position, having out in a benefit that is providing utility to the masses at large. So, here they have said that Kotler and Keller have said that marketing research is such a systematic process of exploration, of collection, of analysis, of monitoring out the data that you have collected for the purpose of fulfilling out your objectives. It is such a process which is being defined, which is being crafted for the purpose of pursuing out your strategies in terms of the 7 Ps, because we know that in the field of services marketing, we are being concerned with the 7 Ps. So, all the 7 Ps, that is product, price, place and promotion. Apart from the product, price, place and promotion, the 3 more Ps in case of service arena, that is the people, process and physical evidence, has to be crafted, has to be designed, has to be built in a more effective way. And that particular more effectiveness can be achieved, it can be accomplished whenever we are undertaking out the marketing research in a well defined in a proper way. So, they have evaluated, they have said that the marketing research is a need of the hour and that is being used in each and every business organization, whether the organization is being concerned with the disposition of the physical commodities, or whether the organization is trying to satiate your needs and the wants by offering you certain kind of intangible benefits or the deeds of the associations. Moving on with the next slide. Now, services marketing research, if we correlate the marketing research, the concept of the marketing research with the services arena, we can say that service marketing research is being used to obtain information for the management of the service organization with sufficient insight to make more informed decisions on the future activities. It follows the philosophical premise of service marketing that for a service organization to be successful, it must understand the motivations, desires, behaviors and its users and the consumers, the behavior of its users and the consumers. Now, this statement gives you the fact that we know that every individual consumer or every individual customer who are there operating in the environment, they have their different set of needs and the wants, their psychological temperaments are being different, their psychographic features are being different, the demographic validations, the geography in which they are living upon, they are also very much being heterogeneous in nature. So, it is not preferable and feasible for a marketer to satiate these divergent set of people who are residing in our society. So, what they are trying to do? They are trying to segment, they are trying to make it a common grouping, keeping into consonance their likings and dislikings, taking into consideration their motivation or the psychographic features, which may come in the form of the motivation, learning, perception, personality, attitude formation, and all these psychographic features they are, or psychological variables, they are abstract in nature. They are basically being related with your mental thought process, your beliefs, the way you dispose, the way you develop out an attitude towards the disposition of a particular product, towards the disposition of the purchase of a particular product or the service or a phenomena or an event. So, marketers are trying to analyze these kind of behavioral patterns of the consumers or the target audience, and then they are just trying to craft out their strategies in consonance with meeting out their expectations and the aspirations which the people are holding out in their mind. Further, it is being said that marketing research involves the collection and the interpretation of the data from various sources. The sources may range from the customers, competitors and the broader market of the firm or the service organization that can be characterized in different ways. We know that for the purpose of collection, for the purpose of gathering or the pooling of the information, you have to tap in for the different kind of sources. Now, these kind of different sources may be coming out to shape out in the form of the internal one, or we may just rely upon the external sources which are there operating in the environment. So, if the internal environment, if the internal sources are there existing in your organization, they will be proving out to be a very reliable one, because these are the sources from which you are having a direct touch. These are the sources over which you are having a control mechanism. So, the internal sources may also be talked of as a controllable variable, and they are the good and authentic source for the purpose of pooling up your data. Maybe your own employees who are working in your establishment, they are giving out you a feedback that what the customers thinks about, what the customers are expecting from your product, what are their beliefs, what are their thought process, how they are behaving out, how much purchase pattern they are showing out, what is the frequency of purchase, what is the loyalty that they are showing off with regard to the purchase decisions which they are making out. So, all these things are definitely the feedbacks and the information that is being given by your internal pool of sources, they will be more authentic to talk of. And contrary to it, if we are trying to pull up the sources of the information from the external one, that is also will be helpful for us, but we have to just chalk out, we have to figure out that the authenticity, the reliability of that particular external source of the information should be monitored, it should be carefully being observed, then only those information can be used for the purpose of further exploration of our research objectives. Now, why there is a need? Now, this particular slide shows you the fact that what is the importance that the marketing research holds about in the field of the services marketing arena. We know that every business organization, it is being written here in the slide also, that no service organization should make big decisions without the information about the customers, competitors and the channels. If the service organization is developing a new service, you should use focus groups or surveys to help estimate the size of the market opportunities, alter the service that is being launched, data on the characteristics of the early users and the post use attitudes of the needed that is also being needed. These informations will be helping the organization to learn and fine tune its target audience and the marketing programs that is being developed over a period of time. Now, all these kind of things that is being written here in the slide, that the need of the marketing research is definitely, it is more imperative in today's competitive scenario, that here for every marketer, whether the marketer is, I am repeating the statement again, whether the marketer is trying to manufacture a physical commodity, or whether the marketer is being concerned with the disposition of some abstract element. The thing is that they are crafting out their strategies and designing out their strategies in such a way that they are meeting out the expectations and aspirations of the people at large. So, every business organization, particularly we are limiting our discussion towards the service organization, every service organization, before moving in for making out any important decisions with regard to their decisional area of the 7 P's, if they are making out any kind of improvisation in the product regarding the introduction of a new product, which is the case of, or we can understand this particular introduction or the innovation of a new product in the sense of making out certain improvisations in the field of the style changes, in the field of making its multifarious use. We can also go in for modifications or the improvisations of the other levels of the product, as we have talked about earlier also in our earlier discussion, that there are other levels of the product that can be manipulated, that can be improvised for the purpose of giving out a new avatar to your core offerings. So, if the marketer is trying to make any kind of improvisations, any kind of add-ons or deletions can also be done in any of the levels of the product, then the customers may have a feel that they are getting something new by paying the same amount of cost, and that improvisation will definitely will be giving out a factor, a feel for them, that by paying the same amount of the cost in terms of the prices, they are getting something new to talk of, they are getting something new that will be helping them to either provide more utility, or they may be helping them out in the function or in the field of, or from the perspective of the psychological benefits. Because many a times we are witnessing that the customers and the customers and the target audience, they are not generally having a greater utility or the benefit that is being derived from the consumption of a particular product, but apart from the benefit and the utility, they are making out the purchase decision sometimes because of the backing of the emotional appeal. So, that is being talked of as an impulsive purchase decision. So, if the customers or the consumers are making out the purchase decision keeping in consonance the emotional appeals, that is the emotional appeals are more prominent as compared to the rational appeals or the rational motives, then the customers and the consumers will definitely be moving in for the purchase decision for the purpose of deriving out a status symbol, for the purpose of enhancing out their status symbol, or for the purpose of getting out a more psychological benefit or the associations that they want to have upon after the consumption of a particular product or after the possession of a particular kind of product. So, here the marketers have to just make sure, they have to just take into account that what are the feels, what are the aspirations that the target audience are holding out in their mind, and definitely it is the marketing research that will be helping them out to craft out their strategies in such a particular direction which the customers are trying to throw in the market area. Talking of in the same perspective, that is the importance of the marketing research for the services arena, definitely it is very much being important, because continuously we have to evolve, continuously we have to grow. We are living in a very dynamic society, we are living in a very challenging environment. So, definitely every business organization has to continuously, they have to evolve and grow, and for the purpose of evolvement and the growth, they have to just not only they have to they have to ensure that the variables that are there operating in the environment, that they may be either terming out as an opportunity for them, or there are certain kind of variables that are hampering, or they may be terming out as a threat for them. So, an agile and a very versatile marketer will be channelizing, and they will be just forecasting all these kind of continuous changes that are happening in the environment in terms of the internal variables, in the terms of the external variables, and how to convert those kind of challenges into opportunities for them. So, continuous evolvement and the research has to be undertaken, because we know that from the customer's point of view also, the customers are in a need of consuming, they are in a need of possessing certain every now and then they have a feel of possessing certain new kind of things, certain new kind of offerings. So, that has to be bear in the mind of the marketers, that continuous research is a need of our, and definitely for the purpose of standing out from this competitive scenario, they have to launch out a new kind of product. So here, for the purpose of launching, for the purpose of making any kind of improvisations, for the purpose of crafting and designing out their 7 Ps in a more predefined way, for the purpose of meeting out the expectations of the consumers or the customers, they have to continuously evolve and grow. And for this evolvement and the growth and the creativity, they have to just make sure that they have to undertake out then effective marketing research applications. Moving on to the next slide. Now here also it's being written that the needs of the marketing research in the services, definitely as we have already said, that the customers are occupying as in a kingpin role. The customer's satisfaction is a priority for every marketer. They have to just ensure that the policies and the procedures are suitably being designed for the purpose of giving a greater feel and delightment to the customers. We know that if the customers are satisfied, and that particular satisfaction level is very much substantial in nature, substantial in the case that whatever expectations that they are holding out in their personality with regard to the actual performance of the product from the consumption of a particular offering that they have made in the purchase decision. So if the expectations and the aspirations of the consumers are they are less as compared to the actual performance of the product are more as compared to the expectations that they have held out in their mind, so definitely they are having a feel of delightment, and that delightment will be leading towards making out a loyal customers in due course of time. And we know that if the customers are very much being loyal towards your purchase process, towards the offerings that you are trying to make upon, definitely they will be terming as a hardcore loyalist for you, and those hardcore loyalist customers will be acting as a goodwill. They will be creating a goodwill for your brand, for your offerings that you are trying to dispose of the market area. So here the customer satisfaction occupies in a very important role, and is in a playing in a very pivot role, because all our efforts are being crafted, they are being hovering around towards making the customers more delighted. And the second point says that the service organization have to prepare for the changes. We have already talked about the risks are there in the marketing environment. We have to find out the proper audience, we have to innovate, we have to place out the problems with the changing technology. We have to make out the users known that yes, we are there in the market environment, we are there with the different kind of offerings, and we are there to help you out. The marketers have to make a feel to the customers that yes, we are there to help you out with the different kind of propositions, with the creation of the different kind of value propositions, and those value propositions are having a capability to satiate out your hidden needs and the expectations. So this is all being talked of earlier also, because we have to expand, we have to innovate, we have to diversify out our portfolio, we have to make our presence as we have to just outbeat out the competitors at many point of time. So all these objectives are to be fulfilled if we are just trying to craft out our notions in terms of defining out a good and effective marketing research program. Now how to deal about. Now this particular slide says that how to go in for, what are the important sequential steps that as a marketer has to take into consideration before moving for the services marketing research. What are the important sequential activities or the steps that has to be bear into mind. So here the slide says you the fact that the very first step that has to be taken into account is the establishment of the research problem. We know that as a marketer or as a researcher, we have to firstly define out the problem. What is the problem that is there lying before us? And we know that if the problem is well being defined, the half it is being it's in a common saying that if the problem is well being defined, the half of the solution it throws upon. So automatically, firstly we have to define out the problem. What is an emerging problem that is there before us, and what is the root cause of that particular problem. So the identification, the establishment of the research problem is very, very important step, and is a very first step that has to be born in the minds of the service provider. The second one is the development of the research plan. There is a second one, that is plan, that is all being related to the research, how to go in for that particular objective, how to go in for fulfillment of the research, what are the strategies that you will be going in for, because plan is all being talked of in the sense of the future related activities. So if that is being future being related, if the activities are definitely the future being related, we have to ensure that that particular future activities are evolving out, they are evolving out with the concept of certain kind of variables that are beyond the control of our organization. So these kind of future activity or the futuristic activities has to be foreseen, they have to be analyzed, they have to be explored. So development of the marketing research program or the plan, this is a second step that has to be followed by the marketer. Now the third one is being a collection of the information. The information may be collected from the primary source or it may be collected from the secondary one. The fourth one, data analysis and recommendation, and the implementation of the findings. So we were dealing about the sequential steps of the marketing research process. Now in the next slide, that it is all being related within a different kind of research process of the marketing research, the different sequential steps that has to be followed by the service provider in the field of the marketing research. And here it is being written in a very descriptive way. If you look at the slide, the very first step in the marketing research problem or in the marketing research process is the identification of the problem area. Now how to identify out the problem? It is being given here, that is the problem to solve, the research or the project objectives, the research questions. Identification of the problem, it speaks of the fact that here you as a researcher, you have to develop out in a mindset, you have to innovate out a mindset in which you should be able to forecast out the problem areas, the underlying problematic areas that are evolving and that are there in the environment that are hampering you as a challenge for you. So the identification of the problem, the objectives that you want to fulfill upon, that is the problematic objectives. That is, you can say, that is being talked of in the sense of the research problem and how to get rid of that particular problem. So what are the objectives to define out the research problem in your existing area, and the research questions. Suppose we can say that there are different functional areas in a particular department. We can have a functional area of marketing, we can have a functional area as in a finance, or the other functional area is being looked after by the HR manager, or there is a department that is taking care of the need of the research and development. If the organization is bigger in nature, we are trying to establish a research and development department as in a separate unit. But what to talk of the smaller organizations? So for the smaller organization, it is preferable enough that they are trying to establish out their R&D department in their own organization. So the very first step that is all being talked of is being related with the identification, the exploration of the problem itself, because we know that as already we have said that if the problem is well being defined, half of the solution it is trying to forecast upon. So identification of the problem, that is being talked of in the sense of the research questions that you want to pursue upon in terms of the how to solve out that particular problem, what are the objectives that has to be accomplished for the purpose of solving that particular research problem. The second step, it says that the development of the research plan. How to go in for the development of the research plan, as I have already told you the fact that what are the information that has to be talked of, that has to be needed, the research and the analysis methods, the responsible parties. So the development of the research plan is all being related in the future course of action, how to go in for the future. We know that the future is uncertain, it involves many kind of variables, many kind of challenges. So as a researcher, you have to just explore, you have to just make sure that what are the information that you are trying to foresee from the future course of action, their authenticity should be measured. Many times we are developing out the premises, and on the basis of that premises, the premises are serving as an assumptions for us, because we know that the future is uncertain. So those premises will be serving as an assumptions, and if our assumptions are very much being robust in nature, if they are very much being reliable in nature, definitely whatever the strategies that we are trying to hold, that we are trying to fulfill in our mind, or the strategies in terms of the pooling of the information, that will be more authentic to look in for. So development of the research plan, it is all being talked of in the sense of the information that is being needed, the research and the analysis method, how you will go in for the analysis method, what are the tools and the techniques that you will be using and pursuing for the purpose of exploration, for the purpose of pulling up your information to solve out the research problem that you are trying to, that you are facing of. Now the third step, it says that you have to conduct out the research. The conduction of the research is being said in the sense of the secondary data review. Either you may go in for the primary data collection, or the suitable methods and the techniques may be developed. In the second phase, we have said that there is a process wherein we are concerned with the development of the research plan, and that development of the research plan is all being related with who are the parties who are more being affected with the development of that research plan. Like suppose we can take an example, suppose the functional area of the production manager is facing out the problem of not having adequate production, or the production cycle is not up to the mark as in consonance with the meeting out the demands of the customers. So, if the demand is adequate enough, but you as a production manager not having a capability to meet out that particular demand, definitely it means that your in any of your ingredient, the ingredient of the 7 P's will be having certain kind of lacunas to talk of. How to remove that particular lacuna, how to just monitor, or how to just identify and explore that shortcoming in your 7 P's. Maybe your offering is not up to the mark, or the customers are having another demand, but we are saying that the research problem is the demand is sufficient enough in the market area, but you as a service provider in a firm, you are not being able to meet out that particular demand. So, the demand is adequate enough of your offerings, but you as a production manager not being able to meet out that particular demand, it means somewhere or the other you are having a certain kind of lacunas, or the certain kind of lacunas that you are trying to measure upon, that you are trying to identify upon, and that particular lacunas will be identified if you have tried to explore out in a good marketing research problem. So, here who are the responsible parties, who are the second step, it says that the responsible parties has to be identified, that where is the functional area in which the problem is creeping up, the functional area of the finance, or the functional area of marketing, or the functional area of the research and development department. It may so happen that the production is sufficient enough, it means production is sufficient enough, but it is not being aided with an adequate finance, or you are facing out the crunch of the resources, the financial resources, or you are facing the paucity of the time factor, or certain kind of shortcomings are being experienced on the part of the employees who are working in the establishment, maybe in any of the functional area. So, the responsible parties has to be chalked also. Now, in the third step, that is the conduction of the research, we know that for every researcher, for every marketer, if the marketer is definitely being trying to explore out in a certain kind of research process, they have to gather out the information, and that gathering of the information may be done, as we have already said, that they may be done either through the internal way or either through the external way. So, the internal way, if that is being talked in the sense of the primary data. If you are trying to gather out the first hand information from your target audience, first hand information means those information that have already not been explored earlier in the from other sources, but you as a researcher, you are trying to gather out the information for the very first time. So, you may adopt a tool of the observation, you may go in for the tools of the survey, you may either go in for the tools of the questionnaire, and then you may try to gather out that information that may be helpful for you to fulfill out the objective of the research, defining out the research problem. Or the other way, conversely to it, you may opt in to go in for those sources that have already existing in the market area, and you are trying to collect and pull up the information from those sources that are being talked of in the sense of the secondary one. So, gathering of the information and the collection of the information from the books or the journals, or from the any kind of magazines, or from any kind of sources that are already existing in the market area, and you are just trying to gather from there, and you are trying to deduce the important kind of observations from that particular information, then this particular kind of situation or this particular kind of strategy will be talked of in a secondary one. So, the researcher may go in for the secondary or the primary one, depending upon their feasibility of the resources. They may go in for any kind of method, and after the pooling and the kind of pooling and the gathering of the information, they may be using out the suitable tools and the techniques for the purpose of analysis and the report findings. And here we know that in the fourth step, the analysis and the report findings are being done. The data formatting, you may use any tools, you may go in for the bar diagram, you may go in for the pie chart, you may go in for the operational research, you may go in for the project research and review technique, PERT analysis can be done, and then definitely depending upon the feasibility of the resources and the objectives that you want to accomplish upon, you have to present out the findings before the your hierarchy, that is your top management. And after the analysis and the observation, definitely all these process, all these efforts are being made for the purpose of taking out in a corrective action. Where are the shortcomings that you are experiencing in terms of the defining of the problem, and how to just get rid of that particular kind of problem. So, that action areas of the corrective measures here, it is all being related within a thoughtful planning process, the evaluation of the options that you are having on, the course adjustment and the execution. So, the take, that is the last step, it is all being related in a take action, that is the corrective actions, the deviations that you are experiencing, and how to just correct out that deviations with the purpose of taking out an effective implementation process of the findings that you have concluded in your earlier discourse, and how to just implement those findings for the purpose of getting rid of the problem that you are experiencing in the terms of the defining of the research problem. So, that is all about in this discussion. Hope you have understood the concept of the marketing research and how this marketing research is being applied in the field of the services marketing, and this is all in today's discussion. In the next discussion, we will be using out and we will be more elaborating on the concept of the strategic marketing research planning. Till then, stay safe and stay blessed. Thank you all.